Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Monday, the 19th of May. I'm Derek Clark, and it brings me great delight to say that I'm joined by Stevie Clifford once again. We ended the week with myself and Stevie, and we're opening a brand new week, and there is plenty of Rangers news to discuss. Stevie, how's it going?
Yeah, good morning, mate. Good morning, everyone. We hope everyone had a good weekend and ready to attack the week, as we say.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope it's a busy week with regards to Rangers, certainly with the managerial search, that's for sure. But before we get stuck in, a quick word as ever for our podcast sponsors, S1 Jobs. If you're looking to hand in your transfer request, folks, you know the drill by now. Give S1 Jobs a phone. Get your CV uploaded. There are thousands of jobs across Glasgow, Edinburgh, and the surrounding area. You'll find the one at S1 Jobs. Right, where shall we kick off? Well, the news yesterday emerging from Ibrox, confirmation that Barry Ferguson will not be the next permanent manager of the club. But Rangers released a statement and it read, "Everyone at Rangers Football Club would like to pass on their heartfelt thanks to Barry Ferguson and his staff, with yesterday's game at Hibernian being their final match in charge. Club legend Ferguson answered the call in the club's hour of need back in February and has overseen several memorable moments during his time in charge, not least progression to the quarter-finals of the UEFA Europa League and a terrific victory at Parkhead. A Hall of Fame member, Ferguson will now leave his role along with Neil McCann, Billy Dodds and Alan McGregor, with enormous gratitude and best wishes of everyone at Ibrox for their efforts in these last few months." Patrick Stewart said, "The club and I'm sure all our supporters will be forever grateful to Barry for stepping up and taking on the role of head coach. He and his staff have performed admirably amongst some trying circumstances and achieved some excellent results along the way. Barry, Neil, Billy and Alan all had distinguished playing careers with Rangers and they've all enhanced their standing with the club for their work since February. The reception they received at Ibrox on Wednesday night was fully merited. I know it meant so much to Barry and his team. The search for our new head coach is progressing well and we look forward to concluding our process in the coming period." Now, Barry also released a statement as well following his departure. He says, "I've already lived the dream as a player and as captain of Rangers, and to do so as head coach in the last 3 months has been an enormous honour for me. There have been some ups and downs, but I've loved this experience and gave it my all throughout. I want to thank Neil, Billy and Alan, the 3 staff members who came in with me and all the other staff who have supported me during my time in charge. Indeed, from everyone at the training centre and at Ibrox, the backing I have received has been phenomenal. Above all, I want to thank our supporters. There is no doubt this has been a difficult season, but the backing the team and I have continued to receive in spite of that has been incredible. I have said no matter how this period panned out, I would always remain a committed supporter to the club, and I look forward to remaining a Rangers ambassador. I wish whoever becomes a new manager every success in the job." So there you go, Stevie. Don't think a big surprise. We touched on Barry on Friday, and quite right, he did step up at a time of need. And as the statement reads, he did produce Fenerbahce and Celtic, which I'll be forever grateful for. But I think I've said it. I think the Bilbao game, if he had masterminded Rangers past that stage, then I think he might have got a better chance of getting the job. But I don't think it was much of a surprise to see that Rangers going down this route. Your thoughts on that?
I think first and foremost, my thoughts are a massive thank you to the 4 of them for putting the club first and stepping in at a hugely difficult time. I feel like they definitely put the club first and done what they could. And, you know, he came in at a time where we'd just been beaten by Queen's Park and then the day before being beaten by St Mirren. So we were at our lowest ebb in the season, nothing left to play for other than to try and get us out of a rut and see it through to the end of the season. He somehow managed to get past Fenerbahce with a brilliant away performance. You know, the victory at Parkhead is one for him to savour, I think, as well as, you know, all us watching, etc., etc. So, yeah, I think Barry done the best he could in a really awful situation. We cannot pan this squad the way we have, and rightfully everyone kind of accepts, Derek, that they are not good enough, only for us to turn around and say, "Oh, well, Barry Ferguson hasn't done well enough." Barry Ferguson done as well as he possibly could with the tools he's been given. So with that, you know, nothing but gratitude to him and the team for putting themselves first. I was a wee bit surprised it came out yesterday when it did. But Barry did hint upon that, and I think if they've said it that quickly, perhaps it leads me to speculate and maybe think possibly there's something else in the pipeline coming. They know the direction they're going in, because it's quite a definitive statement. It just kills that dead and perhaps clears the way for something else. So maybe I'm overthinking it, but that's what I thought at the time. But as for Barry, nothing but praise and thanks for him coming in the way he did. Was it perfect, Derek? No, it wasn't. But I don't think it was ever going to be with this squad the way it was. And it was entirely the right thing at the time to do, to remove Philippe Clement, the way he was managing the team and the way we were playing, etc. So, he's done a good job as well. With certain players, I think the progression of Nico Raskin has been absolutely fantastic. He's definitely evolved him. And, we head into the summer in a really strong position with Nico with regards to if we want to sell him. I also think that the turnaround in Dessers in a couple of months, working with that management team, has been, very good. I think Dessers is at a kind of purple patch. I can't remember the last time a player scored in every post-split game the way he has. So there's been some pluses, there's been some good results, and of course there's been negatives. But with that squad, as I've already said, I don't think he could have done much else. So no, it's nothing but thanks for them, and I appreciate it. A wee bit surprised at the timing, as I mentioned, Derek, in answer to the question, but maybe that's going to lead to something else.
Yeah, perhaps. I would like to think that Rangers are well down the line with that. Believe that means number of names that still remain open. There's a number of names said to be on the short list. But yeah, let's hope that they're edging closer to an appointment. Lots of comments coming in. First of all, a big thank you to Blue Yonder for donating 400 Thai back to the channel. Thank you, buddy. It's just become a member. Hoping to get more time to see it live from sunny Thailand. Cracking place in the world to be tuning in. Francis says thank you to Barry and his staff. The wonderful named Bolt Your Ball Bag says, is Chirai still there? He is still there, buddy. Did sign that, I think it was about a 3.5-year deal at the time when he came in initially, which is an interesting one, Stevie. I think he's always well respected. It's an important staff member to have around, I guess. But it was an interesting appointment at the time as well when he came in. Are you surprised that he's still at Rangers?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't. First of all, the 3.5-year deal has most likely got a pile of things written into it, dependent on what happens. So I'm not too up nor down with the length of that contract. I'm surprised slightly, but at the same time, we'll just need to wait and see what the future holds for him. He might be fancied by new management team that come in. He might not be, and if he's not, then that's up to us to kind of deal with it. So, no, it doesn't overly surprise me. I wouldn't have expected him to be involved in that yesterday, in all honesty. Maybe we'll hear something soon about that separately. But I think it was right to give Barry and his team that kind of personal thanks and send off yesterday. So, I think I just look at that as being one that I would look at with a kind of open mind going forward. If he's good enough for the new management team, then okay. He doesn't have anything to do anyway. The players are all away now. They're all away on their summer holidays, so there's no pressing need, I think, Derek, to deal with that at this very moment. And perhaps it's one of these things, as I said, that we will hear about in time.
Yeah. Some comments saying surprised maybe Alan McGregor wasn't kept on, but at the end of the day, I mean, you ask why he's leaving. He may not fancy it as well being kept on. Rangers will need a new goalie coach. I think it was because Barry came in that he sort of got the shout, and his ex-teammate, pal of his, that he answered the call and came in and helped him out. But I think Rangers will be going down a different avenue with regards to that. Big shout out to Mandy. She says, morning Derek and Stevie, listening in hospital, just waiting to go in for my op. This will keep me company. Well, best of luck, Mandy, with your operation. And hopefully it goes well. Good to have you tuning in on this Monday morning. Let's get to the events at the weekend, Stevie. Absolutely bonkers stuff from Easter Road. I expect it to be a crazy game. We did say earlier, it wouldn't surprise me if it was another 5-5. It was 2-2 in the end, but the game has been overshadowed by another refereeing and officiating calamity. Nick Walsh, surprise, surprise, the man in the middle, failing to see a blatant goal for Rangers. Lorkie Bashiri and Nico Raskin challenging for the ball. The ball, everyone's seen the images. Clearly goes over the line. You see Rocky Bashiri heading into the back of the net. So the ball almost hit the side netting. Nick Walsh is within a few yards away of the incident, get a clear view of it. For some reason or another, doesn't give the goal. The linesman, if it doesn't see it for some reason, the VAR officials don't see it. Hibs go up the park and score a goal, and the goal is given, which is just bonkers, really. The VAR explanation came out on the BBC sort of live printer after the fact, and stated, we've got some SFA guidance on the VAR drama at Easter Road. As predicted, the VAR had no conclusive evidence/angle to say the ball had fully crossed the line to award Rangers a second goal. So that is what they had to say on that. Having watched it, not watched the game live, Stevie, but I was getting messages as soon as it happened, so you need to see this. I watched it, and it was just when you think you've seen it all, Stevie, something else pops up like this. Where do Rangers go with this? I know they have released a statement which read, incidents like this again bring into question the effectiveness of VAR and also highlight the need to introduce goal line technology in Scottish football. Our supporters, players and staff deserve better. We will raise this with the Scottish FA and continue to press for initiatives which improve the accuracy of decision-making. Now, I know that statement's been slammed by many. I don't think it goes anywhere near far enough, to be honest with you, with regards to calling this out. And me, the refereeing and the officiating in this country, I've said it before, it's substandard. It makes Scottish football a laughingstock for me. If we want to be taking our top flight seriously, there has to be a root and branch review of officiating in this country. I think they had a great opportunity when Crawford Allen departed to appoint someone from out with the Scottish football fraternity, but they elected to go with Willie Collum, who himself was, fair to say, an underperforming referee, and the guy that appointed him, SFA President Mike Mulroney. No disrespect to Alloa, but should the chairman of Alloa be the guy calling the shots with regards to this? It's just a mess, Stevie, and I don't see it improving any time soon. Unfortunately, it's all right saying Nick Walsh shouldn't officiate matches, and I get that. He's not nowhere near good enough. But where does the buck end? I worry we're just going to see decisions like this continue next season. Your thoughts on what unfolded at Easter Road at the weekend?
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yes.
Derek. Can I just say best wishes to Mandy as well for her operation. I hope that everything's all right with her. And thanks for viewing in. Also, just small point, Alan McGregor, Neil McCann, Billy Dodds may have left for the moment, but what's to say if somebody comes in and doesn't fancy them to continue or come back, that's completely ruled out? I don't think it is. So I think, that's one to perhaps watch. What happens if, certain people come in and do want to work with Alan McGregor again? So, yeah, perhaps just watching that. As for Saturday, like you, Derek, I didn't watch it live. I had something else on. So I'd seen it as well. I couldn't believe it. Like, genuinely couldn't believe it. There's actually, when you watch it in slow-mo, it actually rolls up the side netting.
I know.
It couldn't be more. And even if you think about it, why would the ball roll? It wouldn't roll up the post like that, and then, it just wouldn't happen. So, yeah, if it had hit the post, it would have came square back out and stuff like that. Yeah. I just think there's a wee bit of common sense lacking. I think Nick Walsh started off really promisingly. I like the look of him as a young referee, and for whatever reason, his performances in the last couple of years have went massively downhill. A lack of complete common sense in how he officiates refereeing and referees matches. I think that, obviously we need to be careful. So on his performances, they're miles away from being good enough. I think there's also a lack of bravery. Call what you see. That's in. It's not difficult, and I think it's really wonderful how our attack at Pittodrie was clearly out for the officials to give that. Couldn't wait to get their flag up when Rangers scored at Pittodrie. But, there's a real lack of decision making here. I also find it wonderful, Derek, that VAR can go back, minute into a game and disallow a goal for Dessers and an Old Firm for a foul against Tom Lawrence, but can't go back and have a look at this. We've all seen the pictures. There's no conclusive evidence. What conclusive evidence would you like? Would you like the ball to high five you as it hits the net? I mean, let's be serious about this. It's a shambolic decision. As for Rangers, really poor statement, in my opinion. When you consider what they've done and said against their own fans and banners, etc., this one was really mealy-mouthed and quite weak, in my opinion. It doesn't nearly scratch it enough. And that's disappointing from my point of view. When it comes to a situation like that, we're thankful that it hasn't cost us anything. Our own position has put us there, but very weak, our responses to it. I'd like to see them be more forceful, but the decision himself is a total shambles and a real lack of responsibility from the officials. Get your flag up, get the goal. Nick Walsh doesn't need assistance from that. Be in the position to be able to make that call. It's not difficult. If you're in the right position, you see it hit the side of the net, and you should be up with play. You should be able to call that. And it's not a difficult one, Derek, in the slightest. A frustration from mine is that following up, we didn't just rattle it in the net, which was quite pathetic in all honesty. But the decision itself, a bit of a scandal, to be quite honest with you. And as for what we do and where it goes from here, I mean, Derek, we didn't get a penalty in the cup final. And they were very quick to sweep that under the carpet and tell us, the accountability and all that sort of stuff. So where does it end and everything else? Technology is only as good as the people that's using it. And if the people that using it aren't good enough, then that's an issue. And I don't think the people that are in charge in the middle in Scotland and that are in charge of VAR are good enough. And it's proven that. And these aren't just decisions for Rangers. There's decisions all over the league that you just shake your head and wonder, my word, what's going on? As I said, a real lack of common sense and a real lack of accountability amongst the referees, sometimes not giving stuff, sometimes giving stuff. I think that the overall pattern of officiating this year has been extremely poor.
Yep. I just don't see how. I mean, Willie Collins has touched on their head of referees. He's someone we heard it after that League Cup final decision that I think he was quizzed on what sort of will be the punishment, and he said at the time he's not for revealing that. He wants to protect the referees as well. I get that to a point, but we need him to come out and tell us what's happening here. The standard of referees obviously is nowhere near good enough for a top flight league. What's happening to improve the training and the officiating? Because the referees at this moment in time are not just the referees, guys like you say, Stevie, on VAR that are running the lines. They should not be performing at this level. They really shouldn't be. And it's a joke. It really is. Barry Ferguson speaking. Yep.
Derek, sorry, can I just say, see on the whole Willie Collum thing and when they get together to have their wee cup of tea and do the review and all that, that's the biggest pile of nonsense you'll ever see. What do you want him to say? It's a poor... He's going to come out and say all the same things. There's no conclusive evidence, blah, blah. What a load of absolute tosh from top to bottom. It's a nonsense job for the boys when he got the job. He said he was going to improve the standards. He said he was going to do this and that. He's not done any of it. So let's not beat around the bush with Willie Collum. He's as incompetent as anyone else.
But that's what I'm saying. It's Mike Mulroney that appointed him. So you can go far back to there.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And you know his past as well. So, listen, as I said, there's got to be they were quick enough to get their flags up and give decisions at Pittodrie, which was by the way, wasn't even half as obvious as the one on Saturday was. And then on Saturday, nobody wants to make a decision. Apparently it's all good and we'll just play on, and then Hibs got the other end and score, and that's all good for them as well. As I said, it's a shambles. It's an absolute nonsense, and we'll be very careful about how else we say anything else, because it's just a total nonsense. I would like to think that Rangers behind the scenes were doing more than their statement, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Barry, after the game, says it was baffling. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but it was baffling. That's all I can say. I saw it when it happened, watched it at halftime and at the end. Asked if he consulted Nick Walsh for an explanation. He says, "What's the point? Nick won't speak. The fourth official was brand new, but the referee wasn't interested. It should be getting checked on VAR, but that's why we have it. It's clearly over the line, so it was disappointing. But I've seen it all seasons, decisions like that, not just with Rangers and other games that I watched. That was mind-blowing today. You don't need technology for that incident. It's clear to see it's over the line. It's got to be up there with the worst I've seen." I can't disagree with any of that, Barry, I've got to say. Just to see where Nick Walsh was there in that situation. I get the linesman has to call it, but the referee in that position, unacceptable. It really is. And the VR issue, Stevie, I mean, the clubs are paying a lot of money for this. Why should Rangers pay this money?
On the VR thing, yeah, I agree. But the assistant doesn't have to call it. It's a referee's game. He's the man in the middle. It's him in charge. He can call that. And then if he calls it, like he should, and it goes to VAR, and they say, look, it's not conclusive, or, it's not over from our angle, then bring it back. But make the decision. And too many of them are being weak and not refereeing the game because they think that VAR will it's their comfortable backup and VAR will re-referee it, which we were told they were never going to do. And VAR picks and chooses its moment. So, yeah, why Rangers are involved in VAR, I think it's heading towards the points where club will just say, what's the point in this? So, yeah, really, really disappointing, but not surprising in the slightest, because, as I said, when you look at the farce of the League Cup final and the way they were with that, and so quick to, almost dismiss that urgently, then, yeah, I'm not surprised in the slightest. Look, even see if you want to go back to something equally as ridiculous. Look at the Diamandi decision last week when he was quite blatantly chopped down and the referee refuses to give it, and the whole stadium can see. He goes to VAR and he looks for literally 2 seconds. He sees one replay and goes, yeah, you're right, that's a penalty. And we all go, well, VAR is doing its job. But you miss the fact that the referee isn't. I know. The referee is refusing to give that initial decision that we could all see. It doesn't need a guy with experience to point out that it was a clear penalty. And it's stuff like that is the most frustrating thing. They're no longer given decisions and they're no longer officiating the way they should because it's a fallback for them. And I just think it's weak throughout. And what Rangers should do in the future, I think getting involved in, the panels and stuff like that, withdraw your support for it. Yeah. But Rangers won't do that. Rangers are too busy, especially now trying to make friends and trying to build bridges. And I just don't think it's the way to go, but that's my opinion.
We need goal line technology as well. I'd love to see, it might be onto plums here, but Neil Doncaster, he always seems to come out when there's an element of good news with regards to Scottish football, but never when there's criticism being levelled at the game. Come out and tell us what's happening here. Let's get the goal line technology introduced. Because there's guys watching this out with Scotland looking at it and laughing. Nico Raskin had some decent comments after the game, and he was asked about it. He says, when I see the images and when everybody sees images, we all think that's a goal. But this season, I've seen some crazy decisions. If I think about the last Dundee game when they whistled a handball, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. If I can see it, surely the VAR can see it. I think it could be a good thing for the league to invest in goal line technology. If the league wants to improve, they need to improve every aspect of it. And there's one big aspect. That's one big aspect, sorry. You cannot have big claims every week about VAR decisions. So if this can happen in every other league, why can't the Scottish League have one? It's not just good enough when you want to get closer to the top 10 leagues. You need to invest in your league. And crazy VAR decisions have been, I don't know the word, but it happens quite often. And it's just not good for us on the pitch because we get frustrated, the fans get frustrated, and it just brings some bad vibes into the game. So well said, Nico, on that.
Derek, you didn't even check it, mate. You seen the goal?
This is what I'm saying. The statement. This is what I'm saying. The statement they've released to the BBC that they don't have the angles there. Why?
But they didn't even look. Look at West Ham yesterday versus Forest. They spent 6 minutes checking that Nottingham Forest goal was a goal. And they were looking for things that I had absolutely no idea they were looking for. what would have been the harm in just spending a couple of minutes looking at that and going, looking at the angles they had? You can argue about the angles they don't have. Why didn't they even look at it? Why didn't they even go and spend a couple of minutes taking everything, and even then ask Nick
Something
Walsh?
As big as that, Stevie. Something as big as that, surely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, not only does it affect a goal we should have had, but Hibs score from that phase of play. So, yeah, it doesn't wash with me in the slightest, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Baffling, it really is. I wonder what's going to come out from this. I can't wait for Willie Collum's season review of these decisions. Yeah, I said it before. I don't see it improving with the guys in charge that we have at this moment in time. Rab says it's the attitude of the Scottish referees, in my opinion. It's a big problem as well. Yes, Barry touched on there. No point speaking to the referee. You'll just get yourself in trouble. So yeah, Paul, thank you for the donation, buddy. He says, morning, enjoying the show. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Paul. That's very kind of you. The managerial search then, Stevie, moving on, as we touched on there, we hope things are nearing a conclusion with regards to an appointment. Interestingly, Carlo Ancelotti was asked about his son being linked with a move away prior to their match with Sevilla yesterday. And he said he's an important part of my coaching staff. Also, because we have a special father and son relationship, I have a lot of confidence in him. He tells me things that sometimes others on the coaching staff don't dare to. The coaching staff is young, enthusiastic, and makes me think a lot. They are young, but they have experience. The group of analysis in the club is very good. Real Madrid will be able to enjoy their work in the future. We're a family, and working in a family environment brings out the best in each of us. So, of course, Davide Ancelotti, one of the leading names to take over at Rangers. It's thought there are other candidates in the frame as well. What's your hunch, Stevie, of the names that are floating about? We talked about Ancelotti and the news that came out, one report in Spain when we were on Friday, sort of breaking news that Chris quashed a little later on. So he's still very much thought to be in the frame for this. Your thoughts on the manager situation at this point in time?
There's a very big fence in my house, and I'm just going to, in my garden, I'm just going to sit on it right now, Derek. I don't have any hunches or any thoughts on where this managerial search will go. I'm happy for Chris to do all the heavy lifting. Just as I said the other morning when this came out and apparently it was going one way, I just said, well, that's up to Chris to go and do the heavy lifting for us and find out. I am quite relaxed about it all, Derek. In all honesty, I would like an appointment soon so that we know where we are with it, and we can all begin, and so that the club can plan as well. I think that's really important. If it's Davide Ancelotti, I can see the excitement around it.
Yeah.
I can see why they would want to do that. I understand it. It's a massive risk, completely massive risk. I think that Danny Roll at Sheffield Wednesday is an exciting one because he is somebody that's got a good reputation. He's done a good job Wednesday. When you consider the squad they have, they really should have went down when he came in. He's pulled them right up the table.
Behind the scenes, yeah.
Yep, and he's done, by all accounts, he's got a really good rep down there. So you can see the appeal for that one. If it's Steven Gerrard, and again, an old hand, and you understand why they would go back, you tend to listen to Chris when he says it won't be that kind of move, potentially. Nobody with a Rangers connection, so okay, that's fine. But, even if it's somebody completely different, my own opinion on it is I look forward to the just getting it finalised and seeing where we can go when we can build around that. I do think, I do like the enthusiasm and the kind of potential of it all, because the names that are mentioned, like the young guys, and I understand why we're going for it. And by the way, this is what I wanted. I wanted a takeover. I wanted fresh investment. I wanted fresh enthusiasm. I wanted that drive again to feel like Rangers can be what we all expect them to be. So I'm just happy to sit back and wait for that all to unfold patiently. So hunches and things, I'll keep them to myself, and whoever gets a job, no matter who it is, fully behind them, and let's hope they can do a good job, Derek.
Yep.
Did I get out of that, Will? Did I?
Yeah.
Did I
you get a few scales on your backside, Stevie, but I'll let you away with that. I can get on board with Ancelotti, and I know this. I've had pelters from some saying that. How's that exciting? It's just something different. I mean, it could be an absolute disaster. Of course, it could. But we need a freshness, I think, next season, and I'm excited about the players that we could possibly be bringing in. There will be a lot of departures as well, of course. One of those, maybe Hamza Igaman. Michael Gray with a point I wanted to bring up here. He says, thoughts on Hamza this summer. Will he be away? Worry that if both Iggy and Raskin leave, we have zero quality already in the squad for next season. Strasbourg, you said it on Friday when the reports were sort of surfacing. Strasbourg and France said to be keen on Hamza Igaman. Steve, he wasn't part of the team at the weekend. What's your, if you had to sort of judge your confidence levels on whether Hamza Igaman will be in a Rangers jersey next season, where would you put
it? Back on the fence. So, listen, here's the God's honest truth. If the money is good and the money is right, then Hamza Igaman will leave. Nico Raskin will leave, and that's the way it should be. Whether we like it or not, I would be more inclined to want Nico to stay if I had to choose one of the two, because I think that Nico's levels recently have been really, really good. And I think Igaman still has another couple of seasons before he reaches that consistent levels. And he has got undoubted ability, Igaman. But I think he's, if we look at it in terms of where Alfredo was, when our last kind of talisman striker, I think he's behind where Alfredo was when he first came in, but can reach the same kind of levels where Alfredo peak, Boston, Porto and things in Europe was when Alfredo was unbelievable in those kind of periods. I think Hamza can get there, but that to me is 2 seasons away, depending on, who your coach comes in and what you get. So teams are going to be interested in both. That's a great position for us, and we have to maximise our sales this summer. Ben Davies, Kieran Dowell, somebody is going to have to take Rabbi Matondo, hopefully. You look at the likes of Ridvan Yilmaz at left back. Cyril Dessers, there's going to be massive amounts of interest in him. Derek, I would think he scored a tremendous amount of goals.
Catherine's apparently said to be keen on him.
Well, yeah, give us 5-6 million, then we're talking. But that's, it's the same for everyone. If somebody come in for money for somebody completely left field like Danilo, the club would listen anyway. So it doesn't matter who you are or what position you are in the squad. We should be open to. There's nobody really that's unsellable, and that's just the way it is. Do we want to keep Raskin Igaman? Of course we do, but Nico would have to extend his contract. So we'll just need to wait and see, and see where we are with it. But yeah, I'm not worried, Derek. I'm honestly not concerned. I don't think these players have done enough for me to be consistently worried about who goes and what happens with them. If they were treble winners or league winners, I'd be worried about, I really don't want this. And nobody's done anything. So individually, they might have had spells and things like that themselves, which is fine. But I'm not overly worried. If somebody goes and the deal's right for Rangers, then we move on, because none of them are irreplaceable. And this is a football club that have lost, league winners and Loudrops and Gascoignes and everything else. So we'll move on. We'll find somebody else and we'll get going again.
Yeah.
And none of this squad has done anywhere good enough for me to be worried about who leaves and who stays. So we'll just take it in my stride this summer. There's going to be lots of changes. So when they come along, we'll embrace them and see where it goes.
Yep. Other bits of news I wanted to touch on. First of all, I do love being corrected on the show as well. Blue Nose John says Rule is pronounced like Rule, by the way. Danny Rule is how you pronounce
I think I did that as well, so fair enough. But it wouldn't be a show if I didn't butcher somebody's name.
You and me both. I never knew he was pronounced as Rule, so thank you for that, John. Over the weekend as well, Joshua had the story on the website, Stevie, that Rangers said to be interested in signing the Ipswich defender Cameron Burgess. Now, he's out of contract this summer. He's an Australian international, 29 years of age. Big part of the back-to-back promotions with the Tractor Boys. Had a bit of fair to say, they had a poor season in the Premier League. Just found it a little bit a bridge too far, if you like. But Rangers believed to be keen on him. He's a left-sided centre-back, 6'4", looks at a big unit, and he certainly's got the physicality and the profile I've been calling for some time. Looks a decent player. On a freebie, Stevie, would you be on board with this?
Oh, yes. Strong, physical, left-sided, good left foot, and no nonsense. Doesn't muck about with it. His job is to defend, and he's very resolute in doing so. And a free transfer in a summer where we're going to have to do so much. In a summer, by the way, that the only centre half we might have left might be John Souttar. When you consider that Leon Balogun is out of contract, Robin Proper will be going back to Holland. I would put money on that. And then, Clinton Nsiala might benefit from a wee loan spell somewhere. So I think that kind of deal would be perfect sense to me, Derek. He's on a free transfer, no issue with that at all. I know of him slightly, and he's a kind of thing and kind of deal that we should be looking at, in my opinion. Is he your first choice? Is he going in there? I don't think so, but deals like this are the ones that you need to help the squad, that's for sure. He might be somebody that you bring in as third or fourth and then really surprises you and kicks on. But there's money to be spent on our defence, Derek, that's for sure. But a deal like this, as part of the squad, especially when, say, look at it from this point of view, if you had Burgess and Souttar as 3 and 4 in your squad, you'd be pretty comfortable with that with regard to your depth and things like that. So get another couple of centre-backs in front of them, and the pool there is pretty strong. So, that's a deal to me that I can really get on board with.
Yeah, left-sided as well. I would sort of tell us that, Robin Proper, the manager, and Rangers will be looking to move on. Leon Balogun's out of contract. Clinton Nsiala, I think, has got a lot of potential. Can he be one of the 4 centre-backs, perhaps, next season? Cashin Wiro, will Rangers look to bring him back? That remains to be seen as well. But looks like we had Rangers looking to bring in this lad. Another report over the weekend over in France, and Gaz brings it up. He says, any truth to the report we're signing the PSG under-19 captain Oumar Kamara? Okay, this came from a French journalist. A number of reports in France. Rangers are set to sign this chap, captain of the PSG under-19s. He's played 19 games this season, 7 goals, 4 assists. He's a right winger. And they can also play as a striker as well. It's said that he's going to sign a long-term contract with Rangers, 18 years of age. Can't say I know much about this chap, Stevie, but it looks like another sort of Clinton Nsiala-esque deal.
Yeah, and it's where we should be looking. I think that's clear. These kind of things, as long as it's right for the club and it's fairly low risk, then you would absolutely welcome it. He seems like he's got a decent enough pedigree, knows where the goal is. And let's be honest with you, Derek, we do not have players like this. The problem that I have is bringing somebody in at that level. Where's he going to play? Because the B team's been demolished, isn't it? You're having now this player development plan that they put in, so the B team effectively is going to be an under-18s, under-19s. So you bring somebody in like that. What are you doing with him? How do you promote him? How do we make sure that he isn't stagnating at our football club? Now, there was talk over the weekend, wasn't there, of this link potentially with Raith Rovers, where you can send players down there and get some first-team football. I would be really open to the idea of the likes of Nsiala spending 6 months down at Starks Park and really getting brought on and learning the kind of rough and tumble of Scottish football, rather than sit here for 6 months and not do anything. Because look at what's happened to Leon King, Adam Devine, etc., who've just completely stagnated. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. So as long as, if we were bringing in somebody like that and the plan was that they weren't a first team signing and they weren't ready, make sure we have a plan to do something with them to stop them stagnating and progressing on would be my only concern. But I'm not against deals like this. I would trust the people that are looking at it. I know that Niels Coppin has taken some criticism, and that's largely due to your Bayrami and Cortez deals. But he also has proven in the likes of Eagleman that he can spot a player. So, it's a hit and a miss. I understand that sometimes. But if that was to come to fruition and it was to happen, as long as they had a plan for him, Derek, I'm on board with it.
Yeah. Well, this comment from G. Harper says, Kamara has turned, as my dog tries to worm his way into the video here, has turned down PSG and top English teams. He'll surely be for the first team. If Rangers win the race for this chat, then they will have a plan for him, like you say, Stevie. So, I don't know anything about him, but by all accounts, highly rated, and certainly an avenue that Rangers have been looking at, of course, last season. And continue to this term as well. We'll keep an eye on that. Right, we'll wrap up there for now. Big thank you to Stevie. Before we go, Stevie, bitterly disappointing day for the women's team yesterday at Ibrox, losing to Hibs by a 1-0, who went on and won the title. They've not won the title for 18 years or something, is that right? But well done to them, I guess. But real disappointing day for Rangers at Ibrox as well. It was all teed up for them, and just fell short. And ended up finishing third because, as you predicted on Friday, Glasgow City also won. So ultimately ending in a rather sad fashion.
Unfortunately, I also predicted yesterday, because this team do this time and time again. When it comes to the biggest games, they are not consistent enough. Hibs have already beaten them twice this season, really convincingly in the league, and now 3 times. Rangers aren't good enough. Let's be ultimately clear. There's too many players in there that have been at the club for too long. It needs freshened up. It needs changed. There's massive questions surrounding the manager, because she was brought in to win the league. She's failed twice. Rangers have now lost the league on the final day of the season the last 3 years in a row. Twice during that time they've been beaten at Ibrox Stadium to lose the league, when all they had to do was win it by either a couple of goals or, like yesterday, just win the game. Really poor performance. That's the biggest thing about it. I'm beginning to really lack enthusiasm by what I'm seeing, because when it comes to it in the biggest games, it's long ball. There's no football there. They're not progressing and playing the way we are. It's all right whipping, Derek, the wee part-time teams and the wee amateur girls that only play, once a week and stuff like that, beating them 14-0 and thinking we're great. See, when it comes to the crunch, they've massively underperformed every single time. And they might end up with a double in the same way as they ended up with a double last year. Double isn't good enough. Double was good enough last year because it's a building bridge. But when you go this close and ultimately blow it, not once, not twice, but several times this season, then I think we have to question exactly where we are. So, huge disappointment. I've got a column coming out on it this afternoon. I was there reporting for Rangers Review yesterday, and ultimately just a complete waste of time. So I don't like to say a bottle job, but it's difficult not to say it, because they completely froze in the headlights yesterday. A huge disappointment. 6,000 people there to watch it. A very decent crowd on a nice Sunday afternoon, and the players completely slumped and let them down, Derek. So, there's big changes needed there. As much as the women's team need revamped, refreshed, and there's question marks over who's leading it, that's for sure. You cannot look, Derek, just to quickly say, at our football club, we used to win at every level, and it used to be in our DNA that no matter what you were doing, we would press on and win and do things. The 18s chucked away the league this year. The women have chucked away this league this year, and the men are completely miles away. Rangers Football Club need to get back to winning and making sure that we are winning. No matter what you're doing, what level it is, if you're at Rangers, you need to be winning. And there's an acceptance now, and there has been, and it's completely wrong, that second, third, nearly there is good enough. We'll go again next season. Well, it's not. It's not. We need to get back to winning, and the DNA of this football club needs to change from top to bottom.
Well, we've got no time to feel sorry for themselves. They got the cup final this coming Sunday against Glasgow City at Hampden. So hopefully they can finish off with a bit of silverware. Right. Thank you to you all for tuning in. Nice wee comment coming in here. Says, just want to say thank you, Derek and Stevie, along with everyone else at the Rangers Review, for making great content throughout the season. It has become a daily habit. Thank you very much, buddy. And there's plenty more to come over the summer. May not be any matches of notes, but we will have you updated throughout the course of the week, as we always do. So any news that comes from Ibrox and beyond, you'll be the first to know on the website and also on the YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing to both. Right, enjoy your Monday, whatever you are doing. And those of you that are Rangers Review Extra members on YouTube, we'll record our Q&A this afternoon, 2 p.m. as ever. So we hope you can join us for that. If I don't chat to you, enjoy your Monday, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.